This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so I am renaming it. I am renaming this particular file name with today's date. So day 6. So today is the day 6. And what is the today's date? I hope everyone know. 29. Yeah, here renamed. So today we can start with the Python programming. So let me write the what are the topics we will be discussing today. Okay, so let me write it at the ending of the Python. We can discuss few Python basics. Vijay Lakshmi, did you install Anaconda software into your local machine? Did you install Anaconda in your system? Okay, on the other day I have created Vijay Lakshmi. Did you install? If you install means I will try to repeat the steps. So I simply explain about how to open a or how to create a Jupyter notebook. Okay, if you don't have laptop or desktop means like you can skip these things. Like uh, if you are having laptop or desktop means not you, so other person has asked me to explain once again. Not Kotturu Vijay Lakshmi, so Thale Vijay Lakshmi from Pace College. Okay, so today first we can discuss how to take an input from the user. Or first I will take what is the token number. So token number is nothing but the one secure 1 hour server has been initialized automatically. One token will be generated. So if your browser is asking about the token number means simply copy this particular token number from the kernel. Okay. So if your browser or if whenever you open the Jupyter notebook on any of the browser, if it is asking any of the token number means simply copy this token and copy paste in that particular box. Okay, so this is the token or some X number of digits will be generated automatically whenever this server has been initialized. Okay, so first of all we will discussing about how to give the output to the user. I hope everyone know how to give the output to the user and input from the user. Okay, so then we can see what is a variables in Python. Then we can see operators in Python. After seeing the variables, let us see the type conversions. Okay, so these are the concepts today's agenda. If time permits, we can go. We can also complete the conditional statements. I hope most of the concepts are familiar. If those concepts are familiar means we can skip. If any of you are not familiar means we can try to discuss examples. Okay. So I hope you know how to give how to generate output to the user using Python. What is the function used in Python for generating output? Is my voice is audible clearly to everyone? Once let me know.
Sir.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. So what is the function? So print is the function available in Python for generating the output. So let me write at the starting. So print hello world. So mostly we will start in the programming language. The traditional is the printing hello world. Okay, for executing shift plus enter. So automatically this thing will be executed. Okay, so print is the function available in Python for generating the output to the user. Okay, so what are the data you're writing? So if you have written only one particular thing, so you can write in this double quotation. If it is a string, you can write in the double quotation.
Sir, my voice limitless, sir.
Wait a second. Wait a second. Now is my voice is audible?
Yes, sir, it's audible.
Okay, fine. Okay, so if I pass it the multiple arguments or multiple data to the print statement, we have to pass them with the comma separator. Like today date is, if I want to pass as a string as well as the some integer, we will discuss what is meant by string and what is meant by integer. For now, remember what are the data written inside the double quotation is called as the string, and what are the numbers are called as the integers. Okay, if I want to pass two different data to the print statement, automatically we have to pass them with the comma separator. Okay, whatever the data you have passed with the comma separated, those data will be printed as a space separated. Okay, space separated. So there is one argument called separator in print statement. So like for example, instead of getting the output as a comma separator, if I want to get as a hyphen separator. Okay, so instead of previously I have got whatever the data, what are the multiple data I have passed to the print statement. Okay, so those data will be separated as a space separator. If you want to get the data with the hyphen separator, like for example, I will be taking the same print statement. If you want to display to the user as the hyphen separator, for example, in some cases we need some different kinds of outputs. In those cases, what we can do is there is one argument called or one parameter called SCP. SCP is the separate argument with default is the space. Whatever the data you have put it inside the print statement, those data will be separated with the space. If I replace the space with the hyphen, whenever I executed the print statement, automatically those arguments will be given output as the hyphen separator. For example, if I want to write as the some group of numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 5, 6. Now each and every value should be displayed to the user with the tab space. Okay, so the each and every number should be displayed to the user as the tab space. So whatever the data I am passing to the separator argument, those will be occurred in the print statement. Okay, what happens? So automatically whenever comma occurred, automatically the comma will be separated with the tab space. Okay, so after one I have one comma, automatically it has been separated with tab space. Next I have again one comma, it has been separated with the tab space. Again I have got one comma, it has been separated with the tab space. Okay, not only tab space or hyphens, whatever the data you are written. For example, so each and every comma value should be separated with the 555. Okay, you can write anything. So automatically those data will be separated with the 555. And ultimately instead of 555, let us write as the ABC. Okay, so one space ABC, 1 ABC, 2 ABC, 3 ABC, 4 ABC, 5 ABC, 6. You will be getting 6. Okay, still that whenever the comma occur, automatically that particular comma will be separated with the ABC. Okay, so here I have written I have separated 6 and SCP, so that is why this comma is not included in the SCP. Okay, for including the SCP argument I have used the comma, so that is I didn't got the ABC. After 6 I didn't got the ABC. Okay, is it clear? So print statement, we are having one argument, another argument we are having. So if you observe here, so print I have, if I want to print multiple data. Okay, so if I want to write print statements multiple times, okay, so if I using a multiple print statements, okay, if I return multiple print statements, automatically the data will be displayed in the multiple lines. Okay, so if I using 3 different print statements, automatically the data is displayed in the 3 different lines. If you observe, okay, so I have simply written print hello world, print hello world, and print hello world thing. Okay, so what happened? Automatically those data has been displayed in the 3 different lines. For example, if I am using multiple print statements, but I didn't require to print them in the multiple lines. Okay, whenever I am using the multiple print statements, but my data should not be displayed in the multiple lines. In those cases, we are having one more argument called END. Okay, the default argument for the END is the new line. Okay, the default argument for the, yes, good. Okay, the default argument for the end argument is the /n. So if I replace it with end argument with the /t, automatically whenever this print statement has been executed, the cursor will be waited at the tab space. Defaultly the cursor will be waiting at the new line, but I have replaced the end with the /t. What happened? Automatically after printing the first statement, before printing the second statement, it is waiting at the second tab space. In the second print statement, I didn't include an end argument. So now let us see what is happening. Okay, so whenever the first statement has been executed, automatically with the tab space, the second print argument has been displayed. I didn't modify the second print argument, so that is in the end argument, new line is available. So that is my third print statement. The third output has been displayed in the new line. Okay, these are the different ways giving the output to the user. Is it clear to everyone? So whenever you passing multiple arguments, whenever you have passed the comma separated data, it has been defaulted, it will be separated with the space separated. Whenever you are using the multiple print statements, the multiple print statements data will be displayed in the multiple lines. Okay, I hope it should be clear to everyone. Most of you maybe these things will be most of you are familiar with these things. Can anyone say what is a variable? What is a variable in Python? Sorry, in any of the programming language, what is a variable? Holds a value, good. Storage container named memory location, a data to store a value and access later, which contains a stored value, a letter to store a value. Good. All the answers are correct. Different location. Reserved memory location. Variable is changed during execution. Name given to a memory location. Good. All those definitions define a variable. Okay, so all those definitions are correct. Okay, if I want to give any particular definition, means it is a thing it is the named memory location okay which holds some value. Okay, it is the named memory location which holds some value. So the name will be given by us for that memory location which is holding some value. Okay, it can be any value. Okay, it can be any value. So what are the value? It can be numbers or it can be complex numbers. It can be lists or it can be tuples and all those things. Okay, so what is a variable? Variable is a named memory location which holds some value. Okay, so like I hope most of you are familiar with what is a variable. Okay, so properties are nothing but so if I want to give a name to a memory location, so there are few properties we should follow while naming the particular variable. Anyone know what are the properties we should follow while giving the names to the memory location? Yes, good. It should not start with the number. Okay, so it should not start with a number. I got one answer. First answer is the should not start with a number. So should not start with the can't start with a number. Special characters, yes. No special characters. Okay, should be included. In variable name except underscore. Okay, in Python underscore is acceptable. Okay, in Python underscore is acceptable. Okay, so we should not specify any type data type. Okay, we should not be specifying any of them in a variable name. Uppercase, lowercase characters, numbers, periods, underscore and hyphens. So we can't use hyphens or we can't use periods Balakrishna while using a Python. In Python we can't use any of the periods or underscores. Okay, no special character should be included. So keywords is not better to not use the keywords. Okay, keywords are not allowed. Why? Because so the keywords are the words which are reserved words. Okay, we can discuss about the keywords after some time. For now, remember it is not the best practice to give the keywords or those are the names or reserved words which define some particular properties. Okay, so space comes under the special characters, so we can't use any of the special characters. Okay, it can contain. So first of all, it can contain. Okay, it can contain alphabets like capital A to Z, small a to Z, and 0 to 9. Okay, 0 to 9 and accept underscore. Accept underscore we can't give. Okay, these are the characters are allowed for declaring a variable in Python. Okay, except underscore we can't define a variable. Okay, except underscore no other special characters are allowed. It should not start with a number, so the numbers are allowed for declaring a variable, but it should not be started with a number. You should remember. No special character should be included in the variable name except underscore. Okay, this defines. Okay, this defines this particular part, or otherwise we can't use. Okay, keywords are not allowed. Good. Okay, these are the different properties while declaring a variable. Each and every variable name should follow up these properties. Okay, variable name is nothing but the name of you and me. For example, my name is Anil Kumar. Okay, so there are no particular properties for declaring a name of a person. But while coming to the declaring a variable, declaring the names of a variable, okay, declaring the names of the variables. So these are the properties you should follow. Okay, these are the properties you should follow. Okay, so for example, let us declare a variable. So let us declare a variable a equal to 10. Okay, a equal to 10. Here a is a variable which holds some value at that memory location. So this 10 has been saved in a particular memory location. For that memory location, I have given the name called a. Yes, so variable names in Python, the entire Python programming language is a case sensitive programming language. Okay, you should remember Python programming language is an case sensitive programming language. So case sensitive is nothing but the capital A is different from small a for the Python. Okay, Python is a case sensitive programming language. So if I declare a variable a equal to 10 and capital A equal to 5, so both the variables are different. Okay, both the variables are different. Let me declare. So let me declare a few variables and let me know what are the different variables. So if I execute it means automatically these were in these two variables, these values has been stored. Okay, we can discuss the few more things in the upcoming days. Okay, so let me declare a few different variables and let me know what are the valid variables. So a equal to 55 underscore equal to 225. Okay, 1a equal to 66. Okay, 1a equal to 66 and a equal to 230 plus 56. Okay. Okay, does they follow ASCII values? So in which way you are asking, Geetika? So if are they follow ASCII values means? Okay, so let me know what are the valid invalid variable names here. Okay, I'm storing few different values in different variable names. So here 55, 2256, 66, 23 plus 66, 625, Python and APSSDC. What are the invalid variable names here? Can anyone say? So these are the variables I have created, different variables. Among these variables, what are the invalid variable names? Or which names are not, which names are will give us the error in the while declaring the variables. I am getting 1a, good. 3 is invalid. Okay. 3 and 4, I have got another answer as the 3 and 4, 5. 1a is wrong. Okay, good. Everyone given the correct answer for the third one. Remaining both are correct. 2, 3, 2, 3, 5. 2, 3, 5. Okay. So you should observe the above properties and compare. Are the particular name is following the above properties or not? And let me know the answer. Don't give randomly. So you are that particular, are these properties are following for this particular name or not? So most of you given third one. Yes, exactly. Third one is the wrong answer. Good. And 2, second one is the wrong answer. So okay. So third one, most of you given correctly. Fourth one has been few people given as the fourth one. Fourth one has the wrong answer. Good. Okay, remaining. So let me know the answer. So 50 is invalid. Okay, 50 is valid. So Saran giving 50 is invalid. Yes, A minus B. Okay, so let us see remaining these things. So let us, if I execute it means I will be getting the syntax error. So let us see the one of the error in the at the starting. So today we have started the Python programming. So let us see the first error we are getting. Okay, we have got one error called syntax error. Syntax error is the error which we will be getting whenever we have written the syntax in the wrong way. Okay, syntax is nothing but the rules and regulations for using the Python programming. Okay, syntax is nothing but the rules and regulations for using English language. We will be using the alphabets. Okay, in the same manner, syntax is the in programming language. Syntax is called as the rules and regulations for that particular programming language. Here we have got one error called syntax error, which is nothing but in that particular line, this particular data is not following the rules and guidelines in Python. If you observe here, definitely 1a is a wrong declaration of an wrong declaration of a variable. Why? Because it is not following the second property. It should not start with a number, but it has been started with a number. In Python, if you want to comment a line, means simply hash. Okay, if you use the hash means that particular line will be comment. Comment is nothing but in any of the programming, comment is called as it will be skipped by execution. Okay, so I hope most of you know comment is a comment which is nothing but the execution will be skipped by the interpreter. Now let us execute once again. So as I said previously, Python is an interpreted programming language. Whenever interpreter catches the error, it will be automatically stops the execution. Okay, in the line 3 it captured the error. It has been stopped automatically the execution. It is not checked the previous line. So now let us see next answer whether what are the other different errors. So if you observe here a minus b. Okay, so why a minus b is a wrong variable? Why? Because so minus. So minus is a special character which is not allowed in Python for declaring a variable. For declaring a variable, except underscore, remaining all are the invalid. Okay, are there any other invalid? Once verify above thing and let me know, are there among these three, are there any of the invalid declarations? Observe the above. I have got one answer at the 7. It is the invalid. No invalid. No. Okay, previously most of we given 5 as the invalid argument. So I didn't say that we can't declare a variable with starting the underscore. Okay, so that is it. This particular value isn't valid. Again, 7th one, I didn't say that we should not end a variable name with the underscore or a number or an alphabet. Okay, we can start with an alphabet, we can end with the alphabet. We can start a variable name with underscore, we can end with an underscore. But we cannot start a variable name with a number, but we can end with a number. So these 3 variable names are the valid. Okay, these 3 variable names are valid. Okay, except 1a because it has been started with the number, and a minus b because it contains the special characters. That is why these 2 are the invalid variable names. Then this underscore is also a valid variable name in Python, and it can also start with underscore as it is started with underscore, and it also ended with underscore. We can also use the underscore. Okay, I hope everyone understood. So these are the same properties which can be applicable for the creating the functions also. Okay, there is one concept called functions. I hope if you learn C language means you should remember the concept of functions. Okay, these are the same properties which will be applicable for declaring the function names. Okay, so these are the properties. I hope everyone understood. Now let us check other things. So typecasting or type conversions. Okay, data type. Let me discuss about the data types in Python. Okay, what are the different data types available? Can anyone know? What are the data types? So mostly the data types has been classified into the 2 different ways. Like we can classify, we can't classify. The basic data types are the primary data types are the good. There are integers, float, okay, float, string, integer, float. Let me write it the complex and string. Okay, so someone said as the double, so there is no particular data type called double in Python. Okay, again Boolean. There is no particular data type called char, or there is no data type called double. Okay, in Python there is no data type called null also. Okay, there is no data type called null also. So secondary data types are the data types which are created by the primary data types. Okay, secondary data types are the data types which are created by the primary data types, or nothing but the combining of the primary data types. Okay, so these are called as the containers. So different people give the names as the different names. Containers. So containers is nothing but the storing the group of data. Okay, for storing the group of data in Python, there are different types of data types available. First thing is the list, tuple, list, tuple, dictionaries. Finally set. Okay, these are the final data types in Python. These are the basic data types, or nothing but the Python data types, core Python data types. Okay, on the previous day also I have discussed what are the data types available, what are the different types of data types available. Integers, I hope everyone know what are meant by integers and floating. So complex numbers. So if there is a real value as well as the imaginary value, a plus ib. Okay, 6 plus 5j. Okay, so if you are familiar with the complex data means you should be familiar with the how we will be declaring the complex data. So a plus ib format, so 6 plus 5j. So we can also define the complex data in Python. Next thing is the strings. If you are using the group of characters, what are the data enclosed between the single quotations or double quotations? That is called as the strings in Python. Okay, whatever the data, it can be any data, it can be numbers, it can be alphabets, it can be special characters. Okay, it can be special characters. So what are it can be special characters. What are the data enclosed between the double quotations or single quotation? Those data are called as the strings in Python. So mostly lists, tuples, dictionaries, and sets. Few people call them as the data structures. Few people call them as the data types. Okay. So while coming to the data structure, there are other concepts available in data structures. So if you are familiar with C++ or other programming language, so for the data structure, the meaning will be different. Okay, but while coming to the Python, some people will call them list, tuple, dictionary, and sets as the data structures. Mostly people will call them as the data types. Okay, like trees, trees. Okay, there are some other concepts called data structures in real time. Okay, DS, data structures algorithms. Okay, for defining those data structure algorithms, we are having few other data types. So mostly list, tuple, dictionary, set, they call as the data structure or data type. Both are same. Okay, in Python, both the naming will be the same, either data structures or data types. Okay, so once I can explain about the complex data. What are the data in the real and imaginary values? Okay, so real and imaginary values, a plus ib. Okay, I hope in the intermediate we are having, in intermediate mathematics we are having complex numbers. Okay, complex numbers. Okay, a plus ib. A is the first part, is the real part, and second part is the imaginary part. Okay, combination of real and imaginary values is called as the complex values in Python, or sorry, in mathematics, those are called as the complex values. So for doing some mathematical analysis or mathematical thing in Python, we are also having the one of the data type called complex data type. Okay, so we can okay, these are the data types in Python. For knowing if a particular variable is in which data type. Okay, so type conversions or type casting type. Okay, so let me discuss before into the. So here I have declared a few different variables. So what, as I said previously, what are the data included between the single quotations or double quotations is called as a string. Okay, what are the data? So what are the data which is the whole numbers or natural numbers? Those are called as the integers. So if you are having the floating point, okay, so fractional value, so those called as the floating data. So let me declare if different data types of the primary data type. So 55, it is an integer, and B 55.66. So this is the value. This is the example of complex. So C equal to 5 plus 6j. So this is the data in this is the valid data or complex data. So D equal to, so Boolean. So Boolean is one of the data type in Python which is called as the true or false. Okay, there are in true or false as the Boolean data, Boolean data type in most of the programming languages. Okay, so if I want to declare a string, if I want to write some data, so 5. What are the data we have enclosed between the single quotations and double quotations? It is called as the strings. We can discuss in depth into the strings in the upcoming sessions. For now, remember it as the string. Okay, so what are the data enclosed between the square brackets? It is called as a list. Okay, so those are constructed between using the primary data types. Okay, so again, what are the data enclosed between the parentheses? It is called as a tuple. Same, there is slight difference between the list and tuple. We can discuss those things when entering into the list as well as the tuple concept. Okay, for declaring a dictionary, we have to store the data in the format of key and value pairs. We have to store the data in the format of key and value pairs. For getting some understanding about the data types, I'm taking each and every data type as the one example. For now, remember, those are the data types, those are the ways of declaring. We will go in depth about how to use them data types, what are the possibilities and what are the advantages, what are the disadvantages, okay, how we can get the data, all those things in the upcoming sessions. What is the purpose of those data types? Okay, for now, simply remember those are the data types. Okay, if our data is available in the square parentheses or flower brackets in the key and value pairs, it is called as the dictionary. if the data available between the flower brackets in the comma separated, that is called as the set. Okay, these are the data types in Python. So this is the way of, these are the different values. Examples of the those data types. It is the integer, it is the float, it is the complex, it is the boolean, it is the string. It can be single quotations or double quotations. There are other ways also available for declaring a string. We can see in the upcoming session. This is the list. What are the data enclosed between the square brackets. Next thing, what are the data enclosed between the parentheses? It is called as a tuple. What are the data enclosed between the flower brackets as the key and the value pairs? It is called as a key and it is called as a value. Okay, name is called as the key and Python is called as a value. Next thing is if the data is available between the flower brackets as the comma separated, it is called as a set. Okay, so I am saying this is string or this is tuple or this is list or this is something. So if you want to verify whether that particular, what is that particular data type, or nothing but if you want to verify what is the data type of a variable. For example, so if you observe here, I have stored the 55 value inside a variable. If you want to know what is the data type of that particular variable, I didn't define any data type. In the C language, if I want to store an integer value, definitely I need to declare the integer variable with the data type. But here it is a dynamic programming. So depending upon the data we are interested to store inside the variable, automatically the data type will be changes. Okay, depending upon the data I am storing inside the variable, automatically the data type will be changes. For example, for now I have declared the dynamically type. Okay, so for now I have stored the 55 in the variable called a. If I want to know what is the data type of a variable, okay, I have stored some value long ago. Yes, good. Okay, so the example, the function which you use is the type. Good, excellent. The type of a, which is nothing but the, if you want to know data type of a particular variable, type. Type is the predefined function in Python, which is whatever the value we have passed, it returns the data type of a variable. Okay, for example, now if I stored the 55.66, automatically the data type of the variable a will be changes to the float. Automatically, depending upon the data I am storing inside the variable, automatically those data type will be changes. If you observe here, I have declared the variables in this particular cell. I can access those variables in the next cell also. Okay, I can access this particular variable in this cell also. That is the one of the beauty, or what is the one of the advantages we are having in the Jupyter Notebook. Okay, we have declared a variable long ago. We can use that after a few days also. Okay, like if I want to know the what is the data type of the variable C. Okay, this is the complex data I have stored. If I execute it, means complex data. So this is the data type complex. So there is something called class. We can discuss about the class in the upcoming sessions. Object-oriented programming language. On the previous day, I have said what are the data we are creating. Everything is an object. Okay, so here A is an object of class integer. Here C is an object of class complex. Okay, for now remember there is a some word called object and there is an object called class. Okay, or nothing but this is the variable belongs to the property complex. Okay, so that is the property name. Okay, we can discuss in depth about the classes, objects while discussing about the object-oriented programming language. For now, type returns the data type of a variable. Okay, you can declare. You can also write side by side also comma. If I want to know data type of a particular variable I. Okay, it is a set. Okay, so you can also verify remaining data types also. So it is a list, it is a tuple, it is a dictionary, it is a set. Okay, I hope most of you are familiar with those things. Okay, so why I'm saying these things means, so let us use the input function. So let us take, if I want to take the input from the user, okay, if I want to take the input from the user, what is the function available in Python? If I want to take some data from the user, how I can take? Yes, good. Yes, input is the function available in Python for getting the input from the user. So previously what I have done, I have directly stored the 55 in variable A. Now I want to take that particular value from the user. For that purpose, we are having function called input. Okay. So now if I executed this particular statement means it will ask you to enter some data. Okay, it will ask you to enter some data. If you observe here, it is a star. Okay, whenever you have observed the star in that any of this cell, you should remember that the cell is being executed. Okay, the cell is being executed. If this particular cell execution is not finished, means the below cell will not be executed. If I'm trying to like let us write b equal to. Okay, so before completing the execution of the previous cell, if I'm trying to execute the another cell, okay, it will not be executed. Okay, whenever you have observed the star mark, means that is nothing but the, so at some point of that one of the cell is being executed, okay, I'm executing another cell. So you should remember, whenever the execution of this particular cell has been completed, then only the bottom cells will be executed. Okay, you should remember this one thing in the Jupyter notebook. So what is happening here? The cell is being executed, which is nothing but it is waiting to get the input from the user. Okay, this box tells us the give the input. Okay, so here I'm using the 1, 2, 3. Okay, here I'm using the 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3 value has been stored in the variable here. Okay, 1, 2, 3 value has been stored in the variable here. Jai Shankar, present I have given only a single example of how to declare a dictionary. We can see in depth about the other things about the dictionary in the upcoming sessions. Now I have given only the example or sample. This is the dictionary data type. Example for dictionary. Okay, so what is the thing I have stored in here? So I have stored a variable called 1, 2, 3 inside the variable here. Now if I check the data type of the variable, so what is the data type of the variable here? Can anyone say? I have stored 123. So what is the data type of the variable here? If you are familiar with the Python, means you should give correct answer. If you are not familiar, means you will be given the wrong answer. So I am taking the input 123 from the user and I have stored inside the variable here. What is the data type? String. Okay, string. So we can string. I got one float, integer, string. I have got 3 different answers. Remaining, anyone trying? What is the data type of variable here? Now I have stored only the 123 from the user. Yes, string. If you execute it and if you are telling me it is wrong, so you should give the correct answer. Yes, good, string. Okay, so here I am getting the string. You should remember whenever I'm taking some input from the user. Okay, whenever I'm taking some input from the user, the data will be stored in the data type of string. It can be integer, it can be list, it can be tuple, or it can be dictionary, anything. Whatever the data you are providing as the input from the user, it will be automatically stored in the format of string. Okay. Why it is storing in the format of string means we can discuss about this thing while discussing about the strings concept. For example, if I'm taking b equal to input. Okay, if I'm giving some list input, okay, list data, for example, list data type. This is the data type of list. If I print it means it will automatically taken as the list. Okay, whenever I'm giving some input to the user, automatically the particular data will be stored in the format of string. You should remember. Okay, so you should remember. So here, if I want to take the input from the user and if I want to do some calculations, okay, can I add 123 and 556.6? Can I add a plus abc? Yes or no? Can I add 123 a and abc? Definitely no. Why? Because a is the format of string and abc is the format of integer. Okay, we can't add integer to the string. So that is what we have to do is that whenever we are taking the input from the user, we have to typecast. Okay, so now the concept called as the typecasting or type conversions. Now the concept is called as the type conversions or typecasting. Okay, what is the purpose of type conversions? Okay, if you are having a variable with the unrequired data type, okay, if you are having a variable with the unnecessary data type, we have to convert the particular data type to the necessary data type. Okay, for example, previously we have stored 123 in the variable here, but it is actually integer data, but it has been stored in the format of string. Okay, now what we have to do is the simply a equal to, so if I want to take the input from the user, integer as the input from the user. Okay, I know that I'm taking the integer input from the user. In the purpose, what I have is the int of Int is the function, int is the class, it is the function available in Python with the converts, okay, any string formatted integer to the integer. So what is doing here? String formatted integer. So if that data is available, string formatted integer is available, it will automatically convert it to the integer. It's the function which it takes some value. It is used to convert that particular value to the integer. Okay, let me print here a value as well as the type of a. Okay, so let me take as the same value 123. So what happened? So the 123 value has been stored in the variable here. What happened? It has been, what are the input I have provided? It has been automatically converted to the integer. Automatically converted to the integer. So that is how data has been converted to the integer. Similarly, if I given the floating input value, okay, you should remember what is the value you are taking. Okay, before the program, you should remember what is the data you are taking as the input. Okay, so simply if you don't know what is the value you are getting input, so simply here I will be getting the floating input. Okay, I will be getting the floating input, but you have falsely written as the integer input. Okay, let us see what is happening. For example, 233.66, 235.66. Okay, 235.66. Automatically, what happened is that we are getting some error called value error. Once verify me, is my voice is breaking sometimes, or is it clear to everyone? Is my voice is clear, or sometimes it is breaking? Okay, so okay, give me a second. Okay, so once give me a second, I will try to get back. Okay, now it should clear to everyone. Yes. Because due to some good meeting issue, so that is I have left and I came written back. Okay, so okay, so once again repeating. So whenever you are taking some input from the user, automatically the data type will be assigned as the string data type. Okay, so before taking the input from the user, you should know that what is the data I am taking, what is the data type I am taking. Okay, so that you can convert that your data to the required data type. Okay, for example, here I know that in my application I will be taking the integer as the input from the user. So that what I can use is the int is the function which is used for converting string formatted integer to the integer. Okay, string formatted integer or floating data, okay, complex. If you want to convert those data to the integer, I can use the int as the input. So for example, if I given the 123, so it has been automatically taken the input and it has been converted to the input. Okay, so before taking the input, you should know what is the data type you are taking from the user. Okay, you should take that what is the data type you are taking from the user. Okay, so now if I'm taking the floating data as the input, but you have given as the you are interested to convert to the string, sorry, integer. You are taking actually you are taking the float input, but you have instead of converting that to the float, you have given as the integer. What we'll be getting is the value error. Okay, so value array, which is nothing but the we can't convert a string formatted float to the integer. Okay, we can convert float to the integer, but string formatted float data cannot be converted to the integer data. So that is why we are getting some error called value error. Okay, here we are getting a value error. Value error is nothing but the whenever the values are values we have provided are the wrong, and in that cases we will be getting the one type of error called value error. Okay, so before taking the input or before converting your type conversions, you should know what is the data type of that particular variable. Now, if you want to convert or if you want to take the float data as the input means, you have to use the float. Okay, float is the function available in Python for converting string formatted float or any of the data to the floating data. Simplify given now 255.66. Actually, 255.66 will be taken as the string input and it is converting to the floating number. Okay, so string has been taken as string 255.66 some value it has been taken and it has been stored in the format of floating value. Wait a second, it is executing. Why it is taking some? Okay, so if I taking the floating as the input data, you should remember that we can convert that to the floating data. Okay, these are the two different type conversions. We can convert any of the data type to the other data types. We can see remaining type conversions in the upcoming sessions. Okay, now we can see what are the other few conversions available in Python. So you can convert if you want to convert string to the float, you can convert using the float function. If you are interested to convert a string formatted integer to the integer, we have to use the int as the function. Okay, now if you want to convert from one number system to the other number system, if you want to convert from one number system to the other number system, what are the different number systems available? Decimal. What are the different types of number systems available? Decimal, binary, okay, binary, octal, and hexadecimal. So what is the base value for decimal? I hope everyone know base value. Base value is the 10 and the values will be the 0 to 9. Okay. What is the base value of binary? Binary base value is the 2 and the values are the 0 and 1. For the octal, 0 to 8. Sorry, 8 is the base value, 0 to 7. For the hexadecimal, 16 is the base value, 0 to F. Okay, I hope everyone know the number systems: decimal, binary, octal, and hexadecimal. So in other programming languages, okay, if you want to create this, if you are interested to convert from one number system to the other number systems, you should write a program on your own, or otherwise you should construct a program for converting from one number system to the other number system. But while coming to the Python, we are having predefined functions which are used for converting from one number system to the other number system. Okay, for converting, if you observe here, if I didn't mention any of the number systems, it is the decimal value. If you want to convert that one number system to the other number system, for example, if you want to convert 55 to the binary, so we are having one function called bin. bin is the function which is converting the decimal to the binary. For converting octal, so we are having OCT as the octal, and for converting the hexadecimal, we are having one function called hexadecimal. In other programming language, we have to construct this program or conversion on our own, but while coming to the Python, we are having three different functions. Okay, no need to construct on our own. For example, the decimal 55 value equivalent binary is the 110111. But while coming to the octal, it is the 0067. But while coming to the hexadecimal, it is the 0x37. 37. Sorry, not 37, 37. Okay, so 55 equivalent hexadecimal is the 37. So 55 equivalent octal is the 67. Okay, how I am saying it, this particular value as the octal value, or this particular value as the hexadecimal, this particular value is the binary, or the first two characters define the what is the binary system, what is the binary, sorry, what is the number system of that particular value. Okay, so I can also call this particular value, okay, 1,10,101, but because it is having the 0b here, so I can define this particular value is in the binary system 110111. Okay, because it is having as the 0 stands for the octal 67, 0x37. Okay, in any of the, not only programming language, in real world also, whenever you have observed a particular number with the prefix as the 0x, okay, that is called as the hexadecimal. Prefix as the 0, it is called as the octal. Prefix as the 0b, it is called as the 0b is called as the binary number system. Okay, so this is the decimal to binary system. Similarly, if I want to convert, if I want to convert these things to the again this number system to the decimal number systems. Okay, these number systems to the decimal number systems, what I can do is the simply int. Okay, so int I simply have to pass them as the string format. Now I want to say that particular number is in the binary number system. Okay, that particular number system is in the, I need to say to the interpreter that that particular number system is the binary number system, so I have to pass as the base value as the 2. Similarly, I have to use the int function to convert any of the value to the integers, sorry, decimals. So simply, so 67, it is available in the base value of 8. Similarly, the value 37, that particular number system is available in the 60, base value as the 60. Now what happened is that this number's equivalent decimal will be available. What is the 110,111 equivalent in decimal? 55. I need to get all the values as the 55. Okay, from one number system to the other number systems. So decimal to three number systems to the decimal. Okay, so these are the predefined functions. Simply you can use them. Simply you can use them for converting from one number system to the other number systems. Okay, so these are the type conversions. Then if I want to know, I hope everyone remember the ASCII values. Okay, ACHIA. Okay, so American people has been given some standards for each and every character. Whenever you have pressed here, there will be some equivalent ASCII value. Okay, I hope most of you know. For knowing what are the ASCII values of the particular characters. Okay, for knowing ASCII values of a particular characters, we are having a predefined function called ORD. If I pass a character, means automatically I will be getting the equivalent ASCII equivalent of that particular character. Okay, small a ASCII value is the 97. If you want to know the value, sorry, number equivalent ASCII value, so simply CH. Get the character of that particular ASCII value 97. Okay, I can get the ASCII value of a character. I can also get the character of a particular ASCII value. Okay, these are the few different type conversions from one number system to the other number systems. So why I'm saying these things is that while solving few different problems, so we need to convert one number system to the other number system. Instead of building our logic on our own, simply we can use these things. Okay, these predefined functions. Okay, I hope it is clear to everyone. Now we can see operators in Python. Okay, what are the different operators available in Python? Arithmetic operator, What are the other operators available in Python? I'm expecting few answers. Yes, first one is the arithmetic, logical, comparison, bitwise. Assignment, good. Okay, so finally, other things. So relational and comparison operators, identity operators, membership operators, so there are no conditional operators, conditional statements that if and if else, those are separate. Okay, conditional operators. There is no conditional operators. So conditional statements are available, which are if and else if else if else. We can discuss those things in the couple. So what are the different arithmetic operators available? I hope most of you know. Most of you are familiar. What are the arithmetic operators? So addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, okay, modular division, floor division, okay, and power. Okay, for calculating the power, we will be using the double star. What are the logical operators? What are the logical operators? Most of the program languages, those are common and or not. Good. What are the comparison or relational operators? For comparing two values, we will be using the comparison operators. Good. That less than, greater than, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, not equal to, not equal. Good. Then what are the bitwise operators? What are the bitwise operators? Bitwise. Yes, bitwise and bitwise or bitwise not, bitwise XOR, okay, bitwise left shift and right shift. Okay, so this is called as the bitwise AND operator. Only single ampersand, bitwise OR, bitwise not, bitwise XOR, right shift, left shift. Okay, right shift and left shift. Let me write it in the brackets. XOR. I hope most of you are familiar with the XOR gate in physics in intermediate standard. Not or and. Okay, so these are the left right shift. Left shift. Okay. So what are the assignment operators? For assigning the values. Good. Yeah, plus equal to most of your waiting. So combination of arithmetic operators and equal to. Combination of arithmetic operators and equal to, those are called as the plus equal to, minus equal to, division equal to, modular division equal to, floor division equal to, power equal to. Okay, so these are the operators. So what are the membership operators? These are the two operators which are available only in Python. Identity operator and membership operator. Previously, those are common. What are the membership operators? Is or not is. Good. Is or not is. What are the membership operators? Sorry, I think previously I have said membership operators. Identity operators are the is and not is. While coming to the membership operators, not and not in and not in. Okay, these are the membership operators. Okay, so among these operators, I have most of you are familiar. So for doing addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, modular division, floor division, and power. Okay, so these are the arithmetic operators. Among these, what are the things I need to discuss? If you are familiar with all those operators, means I can skip to the next part. If you are not familiar with any of the operators, means I will try to give some examples. Okay, do I need to explain any of the operators? Let me know. Or otherwise, do I need to give the example of each and every operator? Bitwise operators, I have got one response to discuss about bitwise remaining. Identity membership bitwise. Give some examples. Okay. So I will try to solve. It will take only few seconds. So let me give an example. Let me take two variables, A equal to 5 and B equal to 10. Okay, so I will show you the arithmetic operators. So if you want to do some addition, A plus B. Okay, I can add variables, or I can also add the arithmetic operators will be performed only on numbers. A plus B, A minus B. Okay, A multiply B, A into B, which is nothing but the 4 into 10, 40, A by B. A by B gives us the complete division. A modular division. B gives us the remainder. Okay, gives us the remainder, and A floor division B will gives us the only the integer part of the complete division. A power star is nothing but the A square. If I want to get the A square. Okay, let me write as the for differentiating purpose and equal to okay. So this is the addition part. 10 plus 4 is nothing but the 4 plus 10 is nothing but the 4 plus 10 is nothing but the 14. 4 minus 10 is nothing but the minus 6. 4 into 10 40. Okay, 4 by 10, which is nothing but the complete division. So here after complete division I have got the 0.4. So while coming to the okay, after doing division I have got the remainder as the 4. I have got the remainder as the 4. So in the division part, in the complete division part, I will be getting the integer part. That is the floor division. Okay, in the complete division part, I will be getting only the integer part, which is nothing but the 0. So that is I have got the 0. Okay, so 4 square nothing but the 16. These are the arithmetic operators. Okay, these are the arithmetic operators in Python. While coming to the logical operators, mostly we will be while building the conditionals, while building the logics, logical operators will come to handy. Okay, logical operators. I hope you all know. What is the purpose of AND operator? If you are familiar with the logical AND, when the output will be true, if there are two inputs, when the output will be true. I hope most of you remember the truth table in mathematics or in physics in intermediate. Yes, if both the inputs are true, then we will be getting the output as the truth. Let me write the truth table for ease of remembering. So input 1 and okay, both the inputs are true, then only the output will be true. If any of the input is true, automatically the output will, sorry, if any of the input is false, automatically the output will be false. Okay, in programming language, in most of the programming language, except 0, okay, except 0, every value will be considered as the true. Okay, except 0, every value will be considered as the true. Okay, 0.1 also considered as the true. Okay, string is considered as the true, list is considered as the true. Okay, complex values are considered except 0, every value will be considered as the true in Python. It is also common in most of the programming languages. If both the inputs are true, the output will be true. I will discuss with examples, no worries. If the one of the input is false, automatically the output will be false. If one of the input is false, if the input one is false, nothing but the, if I want to say technically, if the any of the value is 0, automatically the output will be false. Okay, so this is the truth table for the logical AND. Similarly, what is the like when the output will be true for the OR gate? And estimate the logical OR. Logical OR. When the output will be true in logical OR gate. Okay, if any of the one input is true, automatically the output will be true. Good. Both the inputs, both inputs low, output low. If any of the input is true, automatically the output will be true. Good. Okay, if any of the input is true, automatically the output will be true. Okay, for example, if I want to give the mathematical representation of the logical gate means, okay, logical gate. So it is the multiplication. Okay, so if I want to give the mathematical representation means it is the multiplication. Input 1 into input. Okay, so input 1 and input. If the value is 2 means it is nothing but the 1. If the value is false means it is nothing but the 0. Okay, so 0 into 1, 1 into 0, 0 into 0. Okay, 1 into 1. You can declare as like that. You can remember. So while coming to the logical OR operator, it is called as the input addition. Okay, so if any of the input is true, automatically the output will be true. If any of the input is false, automatically the output will be false. Okay, similarly, what is the purpose of NOT gate or logical NOT? What is the purpose of logical NOT? Okay, reversing of the input. Okay, reversing of the input. If the input is true, automatically the output will be false. If the input is false, automatically the output will be true. Good. Reversing of the input. Okay, reversing of the input. Okay, shifting or nothing but the reversing. Okay, if the input is true, automatically the output will be false. If the input is false, automatically the output will be true. I have most of you familiar with this. Okay, you should remember, because if you want to build a logic, if you want to build an application, definitely logical operators we will be using. Logical operators will be using. For example, if I take an A equal to 1 and B equal to 0. Okay, A equal to 1 and B equal to 0. If I use the three logical gates. So A and B, A or B. Okay, A or B, not A. Okay, if you observe here, when what are the reserved keywords? So as I said previously, there is some concept called keywords. Keywords are nothing but the words which are reserved. Okay, if you use the and or not means those are automatically highlighted. Okay, those are automatically highlighted. Okay, except 0, every value will be the. Let me take another example as the C equal to 0. Okay, except 0, remaining values are the except 0 number, remaining values are the true in Python. Okay, so let me give the answer output. What will be the output? Can anyone guess the outputs? What are the outputs? What are the outputs? So first one is the true, false, true, and 0. Remaining. So what will be the output? Give a guess. No worries. It can be correct or wrong. Guess the output. Don't try and say. Simply observe the code and let me know the answer. If you try on our system, means definitely will give the answer, but it is better to without trying, let me know the answer. So one person given as the 0 1 0 1 1. Okay. False, true, false, false, true, false, 1. Any other answers, or do I need to execute? Zero 1 0 0 1 1. Okay, no need to give the arrow marks. Simply I need the answers, because typing arrow marks will be the like it will take more time. Error, someone given as the error. Okay, let me execute. Most of you given some given correct answers, some given the wrong answers. 0 1 0 0 1. Let me guess 0 1 0 0 1. Okay, so 0 1 0 0 1. Okay, as I said previously, except number 0, everything is considered as the true in Python. Okay, it is the string 0. Okay, it is a string 0, which is nothing but it is some another value. It is not a 0. It is some, sorry, SCP. Okay, so it is a 0 is inside the string, so it is considered as the 2. Okay, actually it is not the actual 0, because it is enclosed between the single quotations. So it is called as the, so it is considered as the true in Python. Okay, true in Python. Okay, not see, I forgot. Okay. So if you want to give the correct answer means, let me write as the, okay. Okay, so what is happening here? A and B is nothing but the 1 and 0. So I have got the output as the 0, which is nothing but the, I have got this output. Okay, I have got this output. A or B, any of the input is true, automatically the output will be true because it is the output is true. So I have got the output as the 1. Okay, output as the 1. Not A is nothing but the, because it is true, automatically I have got the output as the false. But while coming to the A and C, it is the true value. Okay, it is not a false value, it is the true. So A equal to 1 and C equal to 0. So that is I have got the output as this 0, not this 0. Okay, this 0 is considered as the false, this 0 is considered as the true. Okay, this 0 is considered as the true. Okay, it is not a false. Again, not C, because it is true value, I have got the output as the false. Okay, except number 0, remaining that is considered as the true in Python. Okay, most of the programming language, not only Python. Okay, I hope everyone understood the logical operators. Like we will be using these logical operators more and more. If you, then you will be getting clear idea. So for joining the both the logics, A and C. So here what is happening is the, so let me give an example. So what is the written value? So if I use it the two different condition, what is the written value means? So here what is the AND operators? If the both the inputs are true, then only the output will be true. Okay, if the both the inputs are true, only then only the output will be true. So what it is checking is, it is checking whether A is true or not. Okay, it is checking whether A is true or not. If it is true, it is, then only it will check the B value. Because here we are using the AND operator. So if it is A is true, then only I will be getting the output as the B. Okay, if sorry, I will be checking the B value. Okay, so if the B is true, then I will be getting the whatever the value available in the B. Okay, if B is false, whatever the value available in B, you will be getting. Let me define it as, let me give the A and C. I have got the string 0. If I use the C and A, okay, C and A, and I have got the value as the 1 value. Why I have got the value as 1 is that it checked the C variable, it is true. So it is, if it is true means it will goes to the second value. Okay, if the second value also true, then I have got whatever the value available inside the second variable, I have got the output. Okay, here A and C I have got in the second, it is true, so that is why I have got string 0. It is a string, not a number. It is a string, not a number. I hope it should clear. If I use A or C, automatically I will be getting the 1. Why? Because automatically, so A or C, so because first value is true, it will not check the other conditions. Whether the second value is false or true, it will not check, because only one value should required is one value required is the true value. So that is I have got the value as the 1. Is it clear to everyone? Remaining, if I need to explain any of the example means, I will try to explain. If it is clear means, we can go to the next part. Okay, like it should be somewhat confusion to you. Okay, someone again asking about the explaining about the A and C. So here, if the both the inputs are true, the output will be true. So instead of getting the true or false, what we will be getting is the, we will be getting this value, which is like we will be getting the value. Okay, So if it is a false value means automatically we will be getting the 0. False value means we will be getting the 0. Here what I am doing is the A and C. Okay, A is the value is the 1, C is the value as the string 0. Okay, string 0 is the true in Python. String 0 is the true in Python. Okay, string 0 is the true in Python. So that is what I have got as the string value as the 0, because and I am considering it is the true. It is the true because both the inputs are true, the output is true. While coming to the C and A, what happened is that it is checking whether first input is true or not. First input is true or not. If the first input is true, then only it will check the second condition. Okay, then only it will check the second condition. If the second condition is also true, then it will return the value which is available in the second variable or the second input. What is the value available in the second input? I am having the second input 1 here, but while coming to in the second input, I have got the string 0. That is why I have returned the value as the 0. Here 1 instead of true or false. Let me take another example. A equal to 5, B equal to 6. Then you will be get the clear head, and C equal to 0. Okay, A and B. Okay, instead of true or false, I will be getting the value 6. It will check whether first value is true or not. If it is true, it will check the second condition. If the second value also true, then I will be returning the what are the value available inside the second variable. Okay, if I use the A and C, A and C, comma C and A, I will be getting the 0. Why? Because in the C value it is the false, the value which is available in the C is the false value. If it is the first value is false, means it will not check the second condition. I hope it should clear to you. Okay, if it is clear, means once let me know, Manasa or otherwise Vijay Lakshmi. We can go with the next thing is the comparisonal operators. Okay, comparisonal operators are the operators which are used for comparing the both the things. If the value is greater than or not, less than or not. Okay, so for comparisonal operators, we will be getting the output as the Boolean output. I hope if I discuss 2 or 3 examples, you should remember, you should get the idea. So A less than B, we will be getting the true or false. A greater than B. What is the difference between double equal to and single equal to? Can anyone define what is the difference between double equal to and single equal to? You should remember difference between double equal to and single equal to. Good. Okay, if I am using the single equal to, so here if you observe here, if I am using the single equal to means I am assigning some value to a variable. But while coming to the double equal to means which is used for comparing the values. Double equal to is for comparison, not the assignment. Single equal to is for assigning the value to a particular variable. Yes, if the both the values are equal or not. Okay, so what is the output? So A less than B, true or false? A less than B, true or false? A greater than B, true or false? A double equal to B. What will be the output? Good shape, Samir. So single equal to is used for assigning a value, double equal to is used for comparing the values. Good. So the output is the true, false, false. True, false, false. Okay. So I can also use the remaining also less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, or not equal to. Okay. You can practice those things. Next thing is the bitwise operators. So it should be somewhat. Okay, bitwise operators. So bitwise and bitwise not and bitwise or. So bitwise operators are the operators which operate on the binary data. Okay, bitwise operators are the operators which works on the binary of the data. I hope few of you are familiar. We are having for using the binary, and we will be having the ampersand for the binary, or it is the type. Negation for not, cap is for XOR. Okay, let me discuss these things for now. Okay, if I stored A equal to 5 and A equal to 4 and B equal to 10. Okay, Okay, what is the binary equivalent of value for binary equivalent of 4? I hope everyone know. 8421. So wait a second. So if you observe here, so 0 is a true value. Okay, Prithvi. So here string 0 is a true value. Number 0 is a false value. That so these two are different values. These two are different values. So it is a string. It is an integer. So string concatenated, string formatted integer is a true. But while coming to the integer 0 is the false. So that is why we have got not C as the false value instead of true value. True. Okay, I have most of you got the answer. So 0 1 0 0. So what is the binary equivalent of 10? Most of you should give 1 0 1 0. Good. Everyone given the correct answer. Okay. So the bitwise operator works on the bit data. Okay. Bitwise operators on the bits data, which is nothing but previously if I applied the 4 and 10, okay, 4 and 10, I will be getting the 10 value. But while coming to the bitwise 4 and 4 bitwise and means it will be worked on the bitwise operators. Okay, here I hope you should get the clear idea. What is the output for the 0 and 0? 0 logical and 0. 0 logical and 0, which is nothing but the 0. 0 logical and 1. True, sorry, false and true, which is the false. Again, true and false, which is the false. Again, false, true, false and true, which is the false. What is the decimal equivalent of 0 0 0 0? 0. Okay, this is the output I will be getting if I use the bitwise AND operator. Okay, bitwise AND operator. Let me write it here. Okay, so this is the AND operator. If I use the bitwise OR, if I use the bitwise OR 0 or 0, what is the output? 0 or 0 is the 0, 0 or 1. Good. Few people have 0 or 1, 0, 1. 1 or 0 is the 1, and 0 or 1 is the 1. What is the binary equivalent? So decimal equivalent of 1110? Okay, so the NOT operator will be somewhat different while coming to the actual logical NOT operator. Okay, here NOT operation will be the somewhat difference. Okay, if I use the NOT here, so let me close it here. Okay, if I use the bitwise NOT here, which is nothing but the negation here. Okay, if I use the negation, what will be happening is the for the negation here, I hope the bitwise operator of the bitwise data of the 4 is the 0100. Okay, what will be happening is that it will add 1 to the actual data. It will add 1 to the actual data. Okay, it will add 1 to the actual data 0001. Okay, what is the 0001? So 0001 is the 0101. Okay, so 0101, and it will change as the if it is the positive value, it will change us to the negative value. So bitwise the NOT operator is different from the actual NOT operation. Okay, bitwise NOT operation is somewhat different from the NOT operation. What it will do is that if I use the bitwise NOT operator to a value, what it will be happening is that it will add 1 to the actual value. Okay, it will add 1 to the actual value, and it will change us the if it is a negative number, positive number, it will change us to the positive number. What is the equivalent of 0101? 0101. Fine. This is the output we will be getting. So bitwise NOT is the somewhat different from the actual bitwise OR and bitwise XOR. Let us do these things. So let me give it. Okay, let us try now. Okay, so what are the values? A equal to 4 and B equal to 5. I have declared. Let me print as the A and B because and A because or B not A. Okay, what are the values we have expected? So here I have forgotten to mention the negative minus. So minus. Okay, 0, 10 and minus. Okay. So can anyone say the truth table for the XOR bit? Anyone remember? Exclusive OR gate or XOR gate? There are two different names. Good. If inputs different, output is high. Both inputs are same, output is output will be true. If both the inputs are true or both the inputs are false, automatically the output will be false. Okay. So if any of the input is true, the reverse of not reverse of OR, NOR gate is the reverse of OR. The NOR gate, NOR, it is the reverse of OR gate. But while coming to the XOR gate, it is an exclusive OR gate, or this is the separate exclusively created OR gate. Okay. So if any of the if both in the both the inputs, one input should be true, one input should be false, then only the output will be true. Okay. For example, if first input is false, second input is true, then only the output will be true. If the first input is true, second input is false, then only the output will be true. If both the inputs are true, the output will be false. If the both the inputs are false, the output will be false. Okay. So the mathematical representation, of the, so you can try. So the mathematical representation of the XOR gate is the A bar B or nothing but the not A not B, sorry, A bar B plus AB bar. Okay, here bar is nothing but the not. Okay, I hope you should remember the exclusive OR gate. If you didn't remember, once if you click on if you search on Google means you will get plenty of the examples. But the mathematical representation is nothing but the A bar B plus AB bar. Okay, so here I will be taking the not of the input A, and I will be applying the AND gate to the B. Okay. So next thing is that I will be adding one OR gate. If I want to construct the logical representation of this XOR gate means this is the way. So again I need to take the input of B, A, and I have to apply the OR gate to the complement of B. Okay, A complement B plus AB complement. So that is the output for the XOR gate. Let us take in some values. Similar. Let us take the similar values for ease of getting the output. Okay, by understanding the above data, so what will be the output? Can anyone guess? A XOR B. A XOR B, what will be the output? If both the inputs are true, it will be false. If both the inputs are false, the output will be false. If any of the input is true, then only the output will be true. Good. 1110. What is the decimal equivalent of 1110? 1110. Good. 14. Okay, so binary equivalent. So let us take A. So previously I have declared A XOR B. Okay. Okay, A XOR B 14. Okay, you may ask, sir, A or B also we are getting value of 14. Okay, so there will be A XOR B. So if both the inputs are true, so because we are taking a values which we will be getting the equivalent of A or B and A XOR B. So that is why we have got the output as the both the same. Okay, if you take other inputs means it may be different. Now we can see the right shift and right shift operators. left shift and right shift operator. For example, if I take a value of 4, the binary equivalent is the 0 1 0 0. Okay, so left shift operators and right shift operators. If I want to shift 2 bits to the right or left, okay, if I done some shifting operators, so shifting is nothing but the shifting the bits to the right side or left side. Okay, so here what is happening? I am shifting 2 bits to the left side, okay, which is nothing but these 2 bits will be moved to the left side. Okay, 2 bits will be moved to the left side 0 0, and the right side part will be the replaced with the 0 0. Okay, so I have moved these 2 bits to the left side. Okay. Similarly, if I use the right side, which is nothing but if I done some right shift operation to the right side, what will be happening is that these 2 bits will be moved to the right side and it will be neglected, which is nothing but the 0 0 0 1. Okay, these 2 bits has been moved to the right side, which is nothing but these 2 bits has been removed. Okay, so what will be the output? So 0 0, this zeros has been repeated, so 0 0 0. What is the decimal equivalent of 0 1 0 0 0 0? What is the equivalent? Yes, good, 60. Okay, 0 0 0 1, and it should be the 1. Okay, so simply if I have done this, so A equal to 4, I printed A left shift 2 bits, I'll be getting 16. A right shift 2 bits, I'll be getting the 1. Okay, shifting the bits to the left side, shifting the bits to the right side. Okay. Simply if you want to remember what is meant by left shift or what is meant by right shift means, if you done left shift operation means you have to place 2 zeros to place that many number of zeros to the right side. If you are doing left shift operator means you have to place those many zeros on the right side. Simple. Okay, everyone understood the bitwise operators? Bitwise operators, yes or no? So that we can continue to the next one. Bitwise and bitwise or bitwise not, bitwise XOR, shift right shift or left shift. So assignment operators, so simple assignment operators. So these are called as the So still I need to zoom because I have in the zoom menu. If I still zoom means only the data will be displayed for you. Okay, so here assignment operators in C language we will be called them as the shorthand operators. Okay, so assignment operators are called as the shorthand operators in C language. For example, as which is nothing but the if you want to add, okay, if I want to add A to the 5, okay, here I have added the A equal to 5. If you want to add some value to the value 5, so A equal to A plus 5. If you want to add a value to a variable and if I want to store that value to the same variable, okay, A equal to A plus 1, which is nothing but the if I want to add variable A with some value and again if I want to store that particular value to the same variable, okay, so this is nothing but the A equal to A plus 10. Instead of A equal to A plus 10, what I can do is the A plus equal to 10. Okay, this is nothing but instead of writing A equal to A plus 10, I can remove this A and I can write as the A plus equal to 10. I hope most of you are familiar with this. If I printed here, what is the output of the value is the A. Now I can get the value as the 10 plus 5, which is nothing but the 15. Again, I have added 10 value, which is nothing but the 25. Now, if I want to subtract some value with the variable, some value to the variable, and if I want to store same data to the same variable, like A minus equal to 5. What I'm doing here, I'm subtracting 5 value from A, and again, whatever the value I have got, I'm storing in that particular variable here. Similarly, you can use all the shorthand operators if you want to do some power, square of a value. I want to calculate the square of the value and I want to store that square of that value, and again I want to store that value to the variable here. Okay, so what happened here? 20 square, which is nothing but the 400. Okay, 20 square, which is the 400. These are called as the assignment operators. Assignment operators is nothing but I'm assigning the values to the particular variables. So that is the purpose of the assignment operators. Okay, single equal to, which is nothing but the assigning actual value. Assignment operators is nothing but doing some operation and assigning the value. Assignment operator. do some operation and assign the value. Okay, that is the purpose. Okay, I hope you all have understand the assignment operators. Now we can see, go with the next thing is the membership operators. I think so. Identity operators. Before going to the identity operators, let us check the membership operators. Okay, membership operators. Membership operators is nothing but whether that particular data is the member of the data or not. Okay, for example, so you have registered for this training program. I want to check whether you are registered or not, or you are the member of this training program or not. In those cases, I can use the membership operators. For example, let us take a variable as the Python. Okay, I want to check whether B is the member of A or not. B is the member or not. Okay, is B is available in A? True or false? Let me know the answer. B is available in A or not? True, because capital P and small y is available in Python. Capital C is available in A. Capital C is available. Sorry, C variable is available in A. Observe clearly. C in A. No, definitely it is not available because small p is different from the capital P. Let us check whether programmatically, if I want to check, means A in B, comma A in C. Okay, A in C. So here I am checking whether that particular member is that is the member of the particular data or not. Simply now I am checking whether that particular data is not. Okay, so the reverse of membership in member, not a member. Okay, A not member of C. True or false? A is not a member of C. True or false? True. Okay, so that is the difference between the membership operator in and not in. Okay, here A is not available in B. A is also not available in C. Okay, and I am checking A is not available in C, so that is how I got the true. Okay, I have asked you the in reverse. I have asked you the question, and I have excluded in the reverse order. So A is available in B. No, A is not available in B. So because this Python, entire Python is not available in B. So A is available in C. This entire Python is available in C. No, that is how I got the false. So A is not in B. A is not in C. So yes, correct. So that is how I got the output as well. That is the purpose of the membership operators. So we will be using, while building the logics, we will be using the frequently membership operators for building the logics. Okay, for example, we will be taking the roll number from the okay, we will be taking simply taking the if you want to write a program, whether the GoToMeeting roll number is available in the register roll number or not. Okay, that's it. So Imran, what you are asking, you have given some emoji. What you are asking, I didn't got your point. Okay, now we can see the identity operators. So before explaining about the identity operators, let me give you some scenario. A equal to 5 and B equal to 5.5, C equal to 5. These operators. So easy and not easy is the identity operators. Okay, is and not is the identity operators. I will discuss now. Okay, C equal to 5 and D equal to 1, 2, 3. E equal to 1, 2, 3. Okay, so print, let us write some comparison operators. A equal to B, D equal to E. What is the output? A equal to C and D equal to E. True or false? A equal to C, 5 equal to 5. List of 1 to 3 equal to list of 1 to 3. Give a guess. What is the output? True or true false or false true or false false? True. Okay, because what are the data available inside A is available in C. What are the data available inside E is available in U. Okay, so that is how got the true and true. Okay, but actually these data. So let me give you. See, if I want to know in which location my data has been stored, in which location my data has been stored. Okay, if I created a variable with the value 5, okay, if I want to know at which memory location that particular data has been stored, so we are having one function called id of A. What is the id of A? id of B, id of C. Okay, f equal to D. Now let us check whether B equal to f of f. B equal to f, true or false? B equal to f, true or false? What I am done, I am assigning the what are the data available inside the D to the variable f. Good, true. Okay. Okay, actually it is true, but what I have got D equal to f. Let us print the f. Okay, previously it is not executed, that is why I have got the false. I think I have forgot to execute this particular cell, so that is why I have got as the different output. So D f equal to, so what are the data I have assigned, what are the data available inside D, I have assigned to the f. Okay, so bear with me, so within few minutes I will try to complete. Okay, so id is the function which gives the memory address of a particular variable, or otherwise in which memory location my data has been stored. Okay, for example D, because we are getting a huge value, that is why I am writing up multiple print statements. id of f. Okay, id is the function which gives us the memory location or memory address of a particular data. Okay, memory location of particular data. Okay, what I have done, I have created multiple variables and I have created multiple data. Okay, I have created A equal to 5, A equal to 5.5, A equal to C equal to 5, D equal to list of 1 to 3, E equal to list of 1 to 3, and I have assigned what are the data available inside the D to the variable f. Okay, D to the variable f. Okay, what happened is that, so if I created an integer, okay, if I created multiple variables with the same integer, okay, if I created multiple variables with the same integer, what is happening is that instead of creating a new memory location, okay, instead of creating a new memory location, what will be happening is that in Python, okay, in Python the same memory location will be given to the particular variable. For example, for creating a variable, if I need 1 MB of storage, okay, so for C variable which is storing the same data, instead of giving the 1 MB of storage for C variable, what I will do is that I will give the same memory location of A, because both the values are having the A values. Okay, both the values are having the same values. Okay, but while coming to the for the primary data types, this will be the same. For the primary data types, it will be the same. But while coming to the secondary data types, what will be happening is that, so let me give it as the E, let me give it as the F. Okay, for the secondary data types, if I store the same data, but it will be stored in the different memory locations. If you observe here, if I have created two different variables D and E with the value of, it is a list, we can discuss about the list in upcoming sessions. It is a list of 1, 2, 3, it is a list of 1, 2, 3, the same value, but it will be stored in the multiple memory locations. Okay, so that will be stored in the multiple memory locations. But while coming to the primary data types, if I'm creating multiple variables with the same data, the memory location will be the same. Is it clear till now? Is it clear till now for these 4 variables? Yes or no? Let me know. What I am saying, it should be, if it is clear means I can continue to the next part. Okay, so I hope it is clear. So for the secondary data types, if I store the same value, but those will be stored in the different memory locations. Okay, so but while coming to the, if I assign a value f equal to d, if I assign f equal to d, what will be happening is the, I will explain in the last half an hour, Prithvi. For now, let me finish this. Okay, f equal to d. What is happening is that if I store this particular d value to the f, means the value will not be stored, but the memory location will be automatically assigned to the particular variable. Okay, so I have assigned d to the f, so that is the memory locations are same. Okay, the memory locations are same. If I done any of the changes to the d variable, automatically the changes will be applicable to the f variable. Okay, so for example, for the list we are having one method called append. Okay, so append is the method which is used for adding new data to the list. Okay, adding new data to the list, that is the method called append. We can discuss in the list answer, but for now remember, append is the method available for the list for adding new data to the list. For example, if I added the list to the Python, so for now I want to add a element called Python to the list. If I printed the d means, so Prithvi, wait a second, I will try to explain once again, because most of the students have got clear idea. So I will continue and then I will explain in the last half an hour. Okay, if I printed the d means, automatically what happened is that automatically one value has been added. Automatically one value has been added. Now, okay, now what happened is that I have done only changes to the d. Okay, I have done some changes to the d. Will the same changes will be applicable to the f variable or not? Okay, if you understand me, you should give the answer. I have changed some, I have added Python to the variable d. Will the Python will be added to the variable f or not? Yes or no? Added. Okay, why it will be added? Why it will be added? Most of you given yes. Why it will be added? Yes, same memory location. Not d or, because not, okay, d equal to f or nothing but the, so same memory location, because d and f are sharing the same memory location. What are the changes I am doing to the d memory location? It will be applicable to the f. If I done some changes to the f memory location, it will also applicable to the d, because those two variables are targeting to the same memory location. Okay, that is the purpose of the, that is the purpose, that is the why if I done some changes to the d, automatically for the f also it will be happening. So because I have executed this step second time, so that is I have automatically appended the Python second time it has been executed. Now if I use the comparison operator, I will be getting I will be knowing that both the lists are same. Okay, I am getting both the lists are same. But if you observe here, so we can't say that both the variables are different. Okay, d, and if we take the d equal to f and d equal to d, we will be getting the output both are same. But while coming to the here, what is happening? So what is happening? So d and e are having the different memory location. Okay, d and e are having the same memory location, for checking whether multiple variables are sharing the same memory locations or not. Whether multiple variables are sharing same memory location or not, and for that purpose we are having is and is not. D is C. Let me re-execute this thing, so that is, so because here we are having the Python for checking purpose, I will be re-executing this thing. Before that, let me print what are the data available in the D, E, F. For checking whether both the whether the variables are sharing same memory locations or not, we will be using the D is E, D is F. So please bear with me like 2 more minutes, I will conclude. So please bear with me. So D is E, D is F, and E is F. What will be the output? Whether D and E are having the same memory locations? D and E are having same memory locations, true or false? D and E, true or false? False. Okay, D and F are sharing same memory locations. D and F, true. E and F, E and F, false. So that is the purpose of identity operators. Whether the variables are sharing the same memory locations or not. Not is similar to the not is. I am checking whether that both the variables are not sharing, true or false. Okay, I am checking whether not is similar to the. I am having one more operator, so I am checking D is not sharing the same memory location of E. True. Sorry, E is not. Okay, not is, sorry, is not. Yes, D and D are not sharing the same memory location. So that is how I got it. Okay, that's it for today. So what are the things we have discussed? So let me conclude and I will go to the doubts clarification. So today we have gone with we have taken the input and output statements. We have checked whether how to take the input and how to give the output. Then we have seen the variables, how to declare a variable. So please give me 5 more minutes. So please don't go. I will try. I want to discuss you one more thing. Okay, next thing is the type conversions, how to convert from one data type to the another data type. Next thing is the operators in Python. Okay, so we have concluded with operating in Python. So tomorrow we can, sorry, there is no class on tomorrow. We can, on the Monday, we can discuss about the conditional statements. Okay, and conditional statements on loop, we can go with the other concepts. Okay, so we have seen to give the input and how to take the output, and as well as the variable, how to declare a variable. We have seen different data types. We have seen type conversions, one type conversions to the one more type conversions. Then we have seen the operators in Python. What are the different operators in Python? And then we have seen the concluded with the operators in Python. Okay, is it clear to everyone? If anyone having any doubts, means you can stay back and ask. Otherwise, you can leave. Okay, I will discuss one more. So, one more thing is that whatever the thing you are learning every day, please try to update your GitHub. So because if as a recruiter, if I want to know whether you are good at the data science or not, I can verify while observing what are the concepts you have learned. While observing what are the concepts you have learned. So please try to create a repository for this training program and update the notebooks. Okay, you can upload after creating a repository with the data science internship training program or APSSTC data science internship. I hope everyone remember how to create and upload the files. Okay, and upload the files every day. Try to upload so that I can know how to. I will know as a recruiter. I will know that you have learned the data science concepts. Okay, simply create a repository on the left side right corner. The assembly is available. Click on that and create a repository. I hope yesterday we have created a repository, and after creating the repository, click on add a file and click on upload files. Okay. Upload files, so automatically it will ask you to how to upload and simply upload your notebook. Okay, so create a repository, or otherwise I will. So most of you students has been left. Okay, click on the plus symbol and create a new repository. Let me show you. Click on the plus symbol, create on the new repository. Okay, after creating the new repository, so I'm explaining to everyone. So I will try to repeat these things on the Monday. No worries. So most of you has been gone. So on the Colab, if you are on the Colab, means you can download your notebook. On the file menu, you can download on the Colab. I will try to explain these things on the Monday clearly because most of the students has left. Okay, no worries. Okay, so if you are having any doubts, means you can stay back, or otherwise you can leave. That's it for today. Thank you for being with us in the basic session of data science using Python internship training program. Okay, if you are having any doubts, you can stay back and ask. Otherwise, you can leave.